This is probably the most important news that I've heard about Energy Web ever. And it seems like no one's talking about it. Well, I uncovered that there's Energy Web chain, and now they have Energy WebX chain. That's right, there's two different chains. Well, when you're an investor in Energy Web, that was of great concern to me. So I had to go down the rabbit hole, and believe me, it was brutal. I had to dive into hours of listening to developers talk very technical of how they created the other chain and why. Well, I was mainly there just for the why, and I wanted to uncover, is this bullish or is it bearish? And I honestly don't know why everyone's not talking about it. But I'm going to share that research with you guys, and you need to stick with me because it turned out it's extremely bullish, and it's something I think you'll want to hear. Now let's get into it. I'm Uncle Ray with the Crypto Bellwether. I don't always tell you what you want to hear, but I tell you what you need to hear to make an informed decision. Now, just like this happens to have turned out very bullish, if it turned out the opposite and it was negative for people like me that are Energy Web token owners, I would give you that information as well. I don't spread FUD. I don't shield. I just give you the information and you can do with it as you will. Now, none of this is financial advice, but let's get into it. If you're not familiar with Energy Web, you need to go to energyweb.org, surf around, look at some of their use cases, get familiar. Another great source of information is their YouTube channel. Now, it gets really technical, and that's where a lot of developers do videos and post it. So you can go as deep down the rabbit hole of an understanding of how Energy Web works as you want. Well, I kind of have the gist of it. I only really care about how everything is as an investment. Now, as you can see on the screen, it says we build open source Web3 technologies that help companies navigate the energy transition. Now, basically, Energy Web works with the power grids around the world, and they help corporations and governments decarbonize their footprint. Now, they have some big partnerships like with MasterCard, and I think it's Volvo, where they created over 5,000 electric car charging stations, and they also have a partnership with the California Energy Department where they have what they call Flex Alert that monitors their energy grid. Now, they just saved California from having a rolling blackout with that technology. All that's exciting, and in my opinion, Energy Web is the front runner and they have the first mover advantage. Now, let's talk about what Energy WebX is, why they created a new chain, and how it works, and is it positive. Now, I'm going to simplify it as easy as I can, and then we'll look at the chart as well. Now, here's the deal. Basically, Energy Web works with governments and enterprises all over the world. Well, they have their core protocol, and they basically help corporations and governments create a avenue to decarbonize their footprint. Well, it's a pretty solid structure, and it's kind of like a roadmap in a box, and they can alter that some, but they don't want to alter it much because of security. Well, what they started to realize is not all governments or corporations wanted to just alter the blockchain or the protocol a little. They wanted to change it out a lot and customize it totally, or they wanted to build their own from scratch. So what they did, they created an entirely different chain that they can customize the existing WebX structure, or they can build on top of the new chain from scratch. Now, here's what that does, and this is why this is extremely bullish. Now, they basically run together in unison. Now, this is what really gets me excited. To build on the new chain or to use it at all, you have to stake the EWT token. That's all I wanted to really hear. That is bullish. Now, what this has done, it's opened up an entirely different avenue for Energy Web token. And also, what it's done is added a whole different layer of security. And that's why they wanted them separate. They didn't want to let people build on top of Energy Web, the original chain, because it will weaken it as far as security. So anyway, guys, that's the gist of how it works. But overall, it's gave them, a huge avenue around the world for corporations that were not going to use Energy Web's original structure, and now it's added security. So it can't be more bullish, being that they have to stake the Energy Web token, which we know is extremely bullish, especially as that other chain starts to grow. Now, let's look at the chart. This is since the first of the year. Guys, that is a big move up. Actually, yeah, that's year to date. But now let's look at the historical. And it's already basically, if you invested in January, you would be up a 1x, full 100% return. Now, if you look at the historical, guys, I don't see why it can't take out its old high of $22.50. Now, right now, it's at just under, say, $4, 350-ish, somewhere bouncing around. I think, for me, that it's probably going to pull back a little bit, and I would look to buy it under maybe $3, maybe start dollar cost averaging in. But I think that's a pretty good risk reward if you can buy it anywhere under $3. And hopefully, when it takes out its old high in the next bull run, like I think it will do, it could be changing gears. So that is a great risk reward, in my opinion. Now, Energy Web has a real world utility application. I think it has a great future. Anyway, guys, turns out that's extremely positive, but really, I don't understand why everyone's not talking about it, because when you hear stuff like that, that literally scares me to death, because that means that everything that we have invested in may just switch over to another chain, another token. You might get dumped on by the other token. It could just go a lot of different ways. Turns out this is extremely positive, and as brutal as it was to go down that rabbit hole, and I say that with love, but listening to hours of developers talk technicals just to get to what I share with you guys was absolutely brutal. Anyway, guys, are you invested in Energy Web? What do you think about this news? Are you going to stack more? Well, that's my plan, especially on a pullback. This is not financial advice. But let me know what you think in the comments section. If you haven't subscribed, please do so, guys. We'd love you to be part of this community. Either way, hit that like button and come back. Take care.